You didn't come across this video by accident. It found you. And this isn't just any video. It's about the Kybalion, one of the most mysterious and powerful books ever written. It's a secret guide that explains the laws behind how reality works. But hardly anyone really understands it because it only appears when you're ready. That might sound strange to your logical mind, but sometimes in life, certain truths only show up when your soul is mature enough to receive them. If you're hearing this now, it means that moment has come. What you're about to learn isn't taught in schools or found in ordinary books. This knowledge is ancient, subtle, and vibrational. It was quietly passed down over thousands of years from one initiate to another. People brave enough to look beyond the surface of reality. In Hermetic wisdom, nothing happens by chance. The Kybalion itself says, chance is just a name for a law we don't yet recognize. So don't think it's a coincidence you're here. Something inside you asked for answers, for clarity, for a way forward. And the universe answered. Through this video, these words, this vibration. According to the Kybalion, everything starts in the mind. Before anything exists in the world, it exists first as a thought, an intention. The very fact that you're here, hearing this, is the result of something that began inside you, an invisible call. The ancients knew this. That's why they hid this wisdom in myths, symbols, and metaphors. The truth was never shouted out loud. It whispers because only those who are truly ready can hear it. Long ago, before the religions we know today, there was a man, or maybe a consciousness, who held the secret code of the universe. His name was Hermes Trismegistus. Trismegistus means thrice great. Great in wisdom, great in power, and great in love for the divine. But Hermes wasn't just one person. He was a mix of two ancient figures, Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom and sacred writing, and Hermes, the messenger of the Greek gods. Together they represented the bridge between what we see and what we don't. While most people focused on everyday life, there was a group of seekers gathering in quiet temples hidden from the public eye. On walls covered with hieroglyphs and strange symbols, they taught something much deeper than religion or philosophy. They taught how reality really works. Hermes is said to have founded Egypt's first mystery school. Not a regular school, but a place where students learned truth through direct experience, not just reading. Every symbol, every ritual, every lesson was like a key vibrating at a certain frequency. They studied time cycles, the power of words, numbers as spiritual codes, sacred sounds, soul geometry, and above all, they learned to look inward, because the greatest temple is inside you. Hermes' teachings weren't given to just anyone. They were locked away, protected, hidden, not because of arrogance, but out of wisdom. Think about it. Would you give a sharp knife to a kid who doesn't know what it is? Or share a powerful chemical formula with someone who doesn't understand the risks? It's the same with deep spiritual knowledge. If someone isn't ready inside, they might misuse it to manipulate, control, feed their ego, or run away from real life. That's why Hermes and his followers used symbolism. Only those ready could decode the message. He wrote 35 sacred works covering everything from vibrational healing and soul psychology to astrology. Universal laws, secret languages of numbers and symbols, and the subtle anatomy of the human body. Many of these writings were lost over time, destroyed in the burning of the Library of Alexandria, one of the biggest spiritual tragedies in history. But some knowledge survived. Then, in 1908, a small but powerful book appeared. The Kybalion, written by anonymous authors calling themselves the Three Initiates. This book wasn't brand new. It's a vibrational summary of laws passed down orally for thousands of years through the Hermetic tradition. Many believe these initiates didn't just study Hermes. They lived Hermeticism and translated its ancient wisdom for the modern world. The Kybalion isn't a book to skim through. It's like a mirror. If your mind is closed, you'll see only nice-sounding phrases. But if you read with an open heart, each sentence can open a door inside you. It's not trying to impress you with complicated ideas. It wants to change how you see reality. For example, when the Kybalion says, "The lips of wisdom are closed except to the ears of understanding," it means true teaching only reveals itself when you're ready inside. It's like a musical instrument. You might hold a rare violin, but if you don't have an ear for music, you won't hear its beauty. Wisdom works the same way. It can be right in front of you, but only reveals itself if you're tuned in. Maybe that's why you're here now, reading or listening to this. Because something inside you wanted deeper answers. And when your soul asks, the universe answers. That's what the Hermetic tradition is. A quiet reply to your soul's call. The Kybalion is more than a book. It's an invitation to see the world differently. And Hermes Trismegistus, with his ancient wisdom, lives on in everyone who chooses to explore this truth and remember who they really are. And all of this only makes sense when you understand one of the greatest secrets the ancient masters ever revealed. The universe isn't made of matter. It's made of mind. Not just the kind of mind you think of when your thoughts are running around your head. It's deeper than that. Everything that exists is actually a mental creation, a conscious thought inside an infinite mind that fills everything. This is the most basic idea in Hermetic teachings, called the principle of mentalism. It means that everything is mind. The universe itself is mental. What does that really mean? Imagine this. You're inside a big dream, but not just any dream. This one is alive, smart, and follows rules, cycles, rhythms, and patterns. Everything you see, hear, touch, or feel is part of that dream. But unlike your night dreams, this one is shared by everyone, created by a mind so huge and advanced that everything that exists is part of it. This mind is what Hermeticists call the All. Different cultures have different names for it. The Hindus call it Maharatma, the cosmic mind. The Gnostics called it the Pleroma, the fullness of the source. Some say God, others call it the field. The name changes, but the idea stays the same. We live, move, and exist inside this living mind. Think about dreaming at night. You might be running, flying, talking to someone, and it all feels real. But when you wake up, you realize it was all made by your own mind. The places, the people, the situations. Now, what if the reality you're living right now is just like that, only on a bigger scale? A dream created by the universal mind. That's what Hermeticism teaches. And this isn't just some old story. Even modern quantum physics is starting to agree, showing that tiny particles behave unpredictably until they're observed, meaning consciousness actually affects matter. So what does that mean for you? Everything. If the universe is mental, then everything you think, believe, and feel really changes your reality. Thoughts aren't just invisible ideas that come and go. They're vibrations that shape your life. For example, say you grew up hearing things like, money is hard to get, life is full of suffering, or you can't trust anyone. That becomes your mental background. So when a chance to grow or try something new shows up, something inside pulls you back. Why? Because your mind is running a silent script saying it's not safe to move forward. And since the universe responds to your inner vibration, you start attracting situations that prove those fears right. It's the same with love. If deep down you believe no one stays, love is risky, or you're not enough, then no matter how much you want a close relationship, your thoughts are blocking that desire. Life keeps giving you more of the same: rejection, heartbreak, frustration. But here's the good news. If everything is mind, then you can change your reality by changing your mind. And that doesn't mean just thinking positive in a shallow way. It means actively reprogramming your mental space, changing the ideas you feed yourself, the feelings you hold on to, and how you see yourself in the world. Think about it like tuning a radio. When you change the station, you start hearing different music, and the mood changes. It's the same with your mind. When you change the frequency of your thoughts, You start attracting different experiences, different people, different paths, because what's outside is a reflection of what's inside. This isn't some mysterious idea far out of reach. Here's a simple example. On a day when you wake up feeling inspired, peaceful and confident, everything flows smoothly. People treat you better. Traffic feels lighter. Even your coffee tastes better. Now compare that to a day when you wake up annoyed, grumpy, and complaining. Everything seems to go wrong. That's not a coincidence. That's resonance. You're not a victim of the universe. You're a conscious co-creator inside a bigger mind. The more you align with that consciousness, by clearing your mind, raising your thoughts, and taking care of what you feel and believe, the more your reality starts reflecting that. Everything is mind. But here's something important. The human mind tends to repeat fears, stories, and judgments over and over. If you're not aware, it traps you. That's why the masters said not just to create with your mind, but to wake up to who you really are. Because deep down, you're not your mind. You are the consciousness that watches the mind. True creation begins when you rise above repetitive thoughts and choose clearly what you want to think, feel, and put out into the world. You don't have to understand all this at once. But if this idea has found you, it's because part of you is ready to start. What if everything you experience is guided by laws just as real as gravity, even if you can't see them? What if nothing is an accident? Not even that you're reading this right now. Once you realize the universe is mental, the next truth follows. This mind that holds everything together works through universal laws, invisible but exact. Nothing escapes them. Nothing happens outside these laws. The Kybalion says it clearly. Everything happens according to law. Chance is just a name for a law we don't recognize yet. This changes everything. Life isn't just random events happening by luck. It's a coordinated dance where every step, every move, every outcome has a cause. Everything is connected. If you pay attention, you'll see everything happening in your life is the result of some vibration you put out, even if it was unconscious. Let's look at a real-life example. Imagine someone who's always complaining about life, talking badly about others, doubting themselves, and constantly feeding fear. That way of thinking is like a radio signal they keep broadcasting. What do you think they'll attract? Situations that match that same vibe. Negative people, missed chances, recurring health problems, low energy. This isn't punishment. It's not some divine punishment. It's just the law of cause and effect at work. This is one of the 7 Hermetic laws, and maybe the easiest one to see in everyday life. You get back what you put out. Every thought is like planting a seed. Every action sends out a vibration, and the universe, like a huge, intelligent mind, answers by sending back more of the same energy you put out. It doesn't matter if you did it on purpose or not. The law still works, just like gravity keeps working even if you don't believe in it. These spiritual laws don't stop just because most people ignore them. They're always active. What you're living now, with all its ups and downs, joys and struggles, is a reflection of what you created before. Maybe in another time or another dimension, but always with a cause. This isn't just Hermetic philosophy. It's physics. It's deep spirituality. It's karma, understood as vibrations. Your physical actions, your hidden thoughts, your bottled up feelings, all send out frequencies. And those frequencies don't just disappear, they come back. Because the universe is like a giant mirror, but not a regular mirror. It's a living, vibrating mirror that shows back your true inner self. It reflects what you really feel, think, and believe, not just what you say or pretend to believe. That's why so many people get frustrated trying to just think positive to fix their lives. If inside you're still vibrating fear, anger, or guilt, that's what the universe will keep showing you. The Hermetic laws are meant to free us, not trap us. When you realize you're creating your reality with every choice, You stop feeling like life is happening to you and start becoming the author of your own story. But that takes courage, because it means looking inside and owning your part. The causes you set in motion without even knowing it, and that are now showing up as effects. If you feel stuck in the same patterns over and over, in relationships, money, health, it's because those causes are still active inside you. Changing your external situation won't fix it. Moving to a new city, starting a new relationship, or switching jobs won't change anything unless your inner frequency changes. The universe will keep reflecting what's inside your energetic field. That's the power and seriousness of this knowledge. It doesn't give you shortcuts or excuses, but it gives you the full map. And that map starts with this: nothing, absolutely nothing, is random. So next time something confusing happens, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask yourself, "What cause haven't I seen yet?" Just asking that question is already a big step in raising your awareness, because it moves you out of desperation and into conscious observation. And that's where real change begins. Now you might understand why sometimes you feel so unstable, why some days everything flows. You feel energized, clear, motivated, and then suddenly, you hit a wall. Doubt comes in, exhaustion shows up, old feelings return. Many people think that means they're failing or back at square one, but that's not true. In Hermetic teachings, this is called the Law of Rhythm. It means everything in life moves like a pendulum swinging back and forth. Life goes through cycles, light and dark, expansion and retreat, progress and pause, confidence and fear. It's the natural flow of existence, and you can't avoid it. You're meant to understand it. Look at nature. The sun rises and sets. Seasons change. The heart beats in rhythm. The ocean follows tides. Life is organized in cycles, and you, as part of the whole, are inside that flow too. The problem is, we've been taught to see life as a straight line, as if real progress means always moving up, always getting better. But that's a modern myth created by a system that glorifies constant productivity and growth. In reality, nothing grows straight up forever without dipping down sometimes. Not even the tallest tree can hold up its branches if its roots aren't deep and strong in the dark earth. The law of rhythm teaches us that setbacks aren't failures. They're adjustments, balancing movements. Just like the stock market needs corrections to avoid crashes, our soul needs breaks, reviews, and retreats to reach a higher level of awareness. Plato said the soul grows in a spiral. What does that mean? Even when it feels like we're facing the same struggles again, we're actually coming at them from a new angle. It's like climbing a spiral staircase. You see the same spot below, but you're higher up. Think about an emotional wound you thought you had healed. Maybe an old fear, insecurity, or painful memory. Suddenly it comes back and you wonder, why am I feeling this again? I thought I was past this. Your old mind sees that as failure, but your awakened self knows the pendulum is just swinging back, not to knock you down, but to shine light on that spot more deeply. It's a chance to face that pain with more growth and understanding. This also explains why many people self-sabotage right before making a big leap forward. Sometimes, just when things seem to be going great, a crisis hits. A doubt pops up. Something unexpected happens. It's like your inner rhythm is shifting, testing if you've learned to stay steady even when life changes. Here's an example. Imagine someone who's healing emotionally. They start meditating, practicing gratitude, and taking care of themselves. At first, everything feels smooth, but after a while, an old feeling of loneliness comes back. The urge to give up grows. They think, maybe all this was for nothing. But that's actually part of the process. The soul's rhythm is asking you to go deeper. What's been hidden needs to be seen, accepted, and transformed. If you resist this back and forth, you end up suffering more. It's like rowing against the current. But if you accept the flow, surrender with awareness, and watch what it's trying to teach you, even the toughest moments become part of your growth. True spirituality isn't about feeling good all the time. It's about learning to ride the ups and downs without losing your balance. It means knowing you can fall and still keep waking up. Every low point is really pushing you for a higher, more aware rise. It's in the quiet, contracting moments that you make space for the next expansion. And it's not about making pain sound pretty. It's about giving it meaning, understanding that even suffering plays a role in your growth. It shows you where you're still stuck, resisting, or wounded. It reveals the limits of your current awareness so you can go beyond them. That's the beauty of the law of rhythm. Life isn't a straight path forward. It's a dance. And even steps backward are part of the dance. By now, maybe you're seeing something important. Everything around you and inside you follows an invisible but steady flow. Now let's get to two of the most powerful Hermetic principles: polarity and vibration. Understanding these isn't just spiritual theory. It's how you change your life from the inside out. First, polarity. Everything in the universe has two poles. This is a law. Hot and cold, light and dark, love and fear, joy and sadness. They seem opposite, but they're actually two ends of the same scale. What changes is how strong or intense they are. For example, cold and hot are just different forms of temperature. There's no clear line where cold ends and heat begins. It's a smooth shift. The same goes for emotions and thoughts. Fear and love are extremes of the same emotional energy. Often, anger is really deep fear in disguise. Sadness can be love that wasn't understood. Here's the secret. You don't have to destroy one feeling to reach the other. You just move your position along the same scale. That's emotional alchemy, what the ancient masters practiced quietly. They knew you can't just erase an emotion or thought by force, but you can transform it, raise its vibration, shift what's heavy into something lighter. Now, vibration. Everything in the universe vibrates. From the atoms in your body to the planets moving in space, nothing is ever still. The difference between what we see and don't see, between matter and spirit, is just how fast something vibrates. Think of it like this. A rock vibrates slowly. It's heavy and dense. Sound vibrates faster. Light even faster. Thought faster than that. And consciousness moves faster than all of them. The higher the vibration, the more subtle and powerful the reality it creates. So what does that mean for you? It means you are literally the result of the frequency you're vibrating at right now. If your vibration is low, filled with negative thoughts like guilt, fear, or anger, your outer world will reflect that. Life feels harder, heavier. Doors close. Relationships get toxic. Opportunities seem to disappear. But if you raise your vibration by staying present, practicing gratitude, love, clarity, and inner truth, the world around you changes. It's like tuning a radio. Change the station and you get different music. To transmute isn't about changing who you are, but shifting the vibration you're operating in. It's like turning up the heat in your heart, moving away from fear toward love, from doubt toward trust. Here's the key. That shift doesn't come from forcing yourself. It comes from awareness, from small daily choices, from choosing inner calm. Like noticing a negative thought and deciding not to feed it. Offering forgiveness, not because the other person deserves it, but because you deserve peace. True alchemy isn't about old labs with potions. It's happening inside your body, mind, and heart. It's you, through your own awareness, turning shadow into light, fear into courage, anger into compassion. And it all starts with one small step. Realizing you're not stuck in opposites. You are the awareness that can move between them. You are the alchemist. If you get that everything vibrates, shifts, and can be transformed, then maybe you see that even your sense of purpose isn't fixed. Because if the universe is always moving and your consciousness is always growing, your path has to change too. But a lot of people still get stuck thinking there's just one life purpose, like it's some fixed mission you have to figure out right away or you've failed. This idea is one of the biggest spiritual blocks today because it stops you from moving forward. It makes you feel like if you haven't found your big life purpose yet, then you're behind, you're lost, or you're doing something wrong. But that's not true. The real purpose of life is movement. It's flow. It's the learning that happens with every step you take. Imagine your journey like walking down a road filled with little glowing orbs scattered along the way. Each orb is a dream, a desire, or a goal that inspired you at some point in your life. Maybe as a kid, you dreamed of being an astronaut, a dancer, or an artist. As a teen or young adult, maybe it was passing a big test, gaining independence, or finding love. You chased those dreams, changed your habits, faced your fears to reach them. But once you did, you realized it wasn't the end. It was just another orb on the path. Then a new orb appeared, a new dream, a new call that pulled you forward again. That's how life works for all of us. Every goal you ever had was a spark that got you moving. And it's that movement that drives your growth. What we call purpose is really just the collection of those moments, those phases, and those changes we go through chasing something bigger, even if we don't know exactly what that bigger thing is. The problem comes when you think you have to get it right the first time, or believe there's only one right path. When you start judging your past dreams as a waste of time. But no true desire is wasted. No sincere effort is meaningless. Even if it didn't take you where you expected, it took you where you needed to be. Spiritual growth isn't a straight line. It's a spiral. You revisit themes, patterns, and old dreams, but each time from a higher place of understanding. And that's beautiful because it shows you're moving, not stuck. You're discovering who you are. Hermes Trismegistus, the father of Hermeticism, said, "The path reveals the seeker." You don't need to know exactly who you are before you start. You find out as you walk, and as you walk, you change. When you change, your dreams change, your orbs change, and that's okay. It's all part of growing. How many times have you wanted something deeply, only to later realize it no longer fits? That's not inconsistency. It means your soul is updating itself. What you want today matches who you are today. And who you are today is far beyond who you were yesterday. So don't be afraid to leave an orb behind. Don't feel guilty for changing direction. Don't think you wasted your time. Everything you've experienced so far was preparation, like a path that only lights up one step at a time as you walk. If you stop out of fear of making a mistake, the path disappears, because it only reveals itself to those who keep moving forward. If you're feeling lost or unsure right now, maybe you're just in the space between two orbs. A quiet, sacred pause where your next dream is still taking shape. Honor that silence. It's necessary. It's fertile. That's where the new begins to form. Your job isn't to find the perfect orb. It's to keep seeking with awareness, truth, and presence. The more you align with who you really are, not who the world expects, the more the right orbs will show up. The path will open up, and your reason for being here will get clearer. Don't wait for some big, final sign telling you your purpose. The universe doesn't work like that. It whispers, nudges, and invites. Every time you say yes to a true calling, even if you don't know where it leads, the universe responds with more light. The search itself is the awakening. And once you start to see this intelligent flow guiding your small changes, you realize something deeper. These spiritual laws don't work alone. Even though we study them one by one, they're all connected, woven together like threads braided into one strong fabric, the universe's source code. This means everything happening in your life is being shaped by all these laws at once, even if you don't see it or know about Hermeticism. Think about a guitar. Each string is different, with its own thickness and sound, but it's the whole set playing together that makes music. One note alone doesn't say much, But when all the strings are tuned and played right, a melody emerges. That's how the Hermetic laws work. Each law reveals a part of reality, but together they show the full truth. The law of mentalism is the structure. Everything starts in the mind. The whole universe is a living thought. Your reality depends on the quality of your thoughts. You're like a programmer working with an invisible code. Your thoughts are the code, and the world responds, whether you're aware of it or not. The law of correspondence is the bridge. What's up there is like what's down here. What's inside reflects outside. That's why your outer world is a mirror. If you're always in conflict with others, it's because there's conflict inside you. If you attract people who don't respect you, maybe you don't respect yourself enough. The outside world shows you what's happening inside. This is the bridge nobody ever taught us to cross. The law of vibration is the movement. Nothing is still. Everything vibrates and pulses. Every thought, feeling, and word creates a frequency. And that frequency pulls in matching experiences. When you understand this, you start paying attention to what you feel, think, and take in, because all that shapes what you bring into your life, even if you don't realize it. The law of polarity is about variation. Everything has two poles, light and shadow, love and fear, joy and sadness. They aren't completely separate things. These aren't just opposites. They're extremes of the same energy. The difference is how strong they are, not what they really are. Take anger, for example. It can be turned into courage. Fear can become presence. Chaos can be reshaped into wisdom. When you get this law, you stop fighting the extremes and start moving through them with awareness. The law of rhythm is about cycles. Everything has its ups and downs. Everything rises and falls. Everything breathes. If you're going through a rough time, it will pass. Life's pendulum never stops swinging. But the trick isn't to try to control the cycle. It's to learn how to ride it. When you know when to plant, when to rest, when to act, and when to be quiet, you stop feeling like a victim of the cycle and start dancing with it. The law of cause and effect is the chain. Nothing happens by accident. Every action causes a reaction. Every choice has a result. What you're going through now was created by something you did, said, thought, or felt before. And this isn't just about the past. It's also about your future. What you plant today, you'll harvest tomorrow. The choice is yours, but the outcome is certain. The law of gender is the principle of creation. It shows us that everything contains both masculine and feminine energies. This isn't about biological gender. It's about energy. The masculine is action, focus, and direction. The feminine is intuition, receiving, and nurturing. Every creative process needs both. An idea must be received with the feminine energy, then acted on with masculine energy. A project must be felt with the feminine, then brought into reality with the masculine. Without balance between these two, things feel incomplete. When you start to see these laws not as just rules, but as living forces inside you, you begin to work with them to guide your life. You stop being tossed around by life and start riding the waves of the universe with balance, awareness, and ease. Here's the key. Either you learn to use these laws consciously, or you'll be carried by them unconsciously. There's no in-between. They never stop working. The difference is whether you're awake or asleep, whether you're creating your life or being pushed around by it. There's no neutral space in the universe. You're always sending out a vibration, always creating something. And if you're not doing it on purpose, then something else, like the media, your fears, your past, is controlling it for you. But now that you see all these laws are really one intelligence moving through everything, you can start using this knowledge as a real map, a hidden manual of reality, the source code that runs everything, including you. Once you see the universe as a unified field of intelligent laws always working, one big question comes up. How do we live in harmony with all this? What happens when someone wakes up and starts noticing the hidden signs behind the world they see? That's when the initiate is born. An initiate isn't just someone who's read secret books or memorized special names. It's someone who stops fighting life and starts flowing with it. The true initiate understands what most people miss. It's not about controlling the universe, it's about aligning with it. And that changes everything. Think about a swimmer in a fast-moving river. If they try to swim against the current, they get tired fast, frustrated, and eventually get swept away no matter how hard they fight. But if they watch the flow, understand the rhythm, and go with it, they can go much farther with less effort. They ride the waves, they dance with the current. The Kybalion says something few really get. The masters obey the law on higher levels and rule it on lower ones. What that means is true power isn't about fighting the universe's structure. It's about understanding it so deeply that it works for you. A master doesn't battle life's tides. They read the cycles, see the hidden signs, and act with precision. That's wisdom in action. In real life, this shows up in small choices. When a challenge comes, the initiate doesn't ask, "Why me?" Instead, they ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" When tough times hit, they don't panic. They get quiet, breathe, and know it's just part of the rhythm. They can move through it. They don't react on autopilot. They respond with awareness. That small difference, reacting versus responding, is a huge step on the spiritual path. Because the initiate knows every event holds a hidden message. Every person they meet, every loss, every win, every silence, it's all symbolic language. Those who learn to read these symbols don't live on autopilot anymore. They live with presence and alignment. And that's where real power comes from. Because, unlike what we're often taught, power isn't about control. It's about being so in tune with the laws of the universe that you become one with them. When that happens, you tap into a flow in life that seems magical to those still asleep. People start noticing that you don't get shaken easily, you change direction smoothly, you don't get caught up in drama, and you don't freak out over delays. Because you understand life isn't working against you, it's shaping you. And everything, absolutely everything, has a deeper purpose, even when that purpose isn't clear yet. Living as an initiate means stopping the fight inside yourself and starting to move along with the flow of the universe. But don't get me wrong, this doesn't mean just sitting back and accepting everything as it is. It means acting wisely, not out of panic or desperation. It means knowing when to hold back and when to step forward, when to stay quiet and when to speak up. Think of the initiate like an invisible conductor, feeling the rhythm of life and choosing every move carefully because they're no longer trying to force things to happen. Instead, they work together with reality. And here's the cool part. The more you get in sync with these natural laws, the more life starts giving you instant feedback. You know that feeling when everything just clicks, like being in the right place at the right time, or saying something and then it happens, or thinking about someone and they show up. That's not luck. That's alignment. It's like the universe responding to your energy. Things won't be perfect, but they become clearer. You stop trying to figure everything out with your head and start sensing it with your heart. You feel what's coming before it happens. You get the direction even before you know why, because you're no longer separate from everything. You are everything, experiencing life. That's the real start of mastery. Not the kind that controls or dominates, but one that listens, feels, and works with reality. The initiate doesn't run from pain. They see pain as a teacher. They don't worship success. They know success is just another test. They live with their feet on the ground and their heart wide open. They're not perfect, but they're aware. And that awareness changes everything, because at the end of the day, the universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are. But knowing all this doesn't mean much if you don't put it into practice. Knowledge alone doesn't change your life. What really changes things is when you take action based on what you know. That's when this teaching stops being just ideas and becomes a real guide to changing how you experience the world. The truth is simple. Your reality changes when you change. And you change when you start living according to the laws that govern everything. You don't need to memorize complicated words or deep philosophy. You just need to pay attention and start living differently. These laws aren't a religion or a set of rules. They're tools. And now I'll show you how you can use each one in your daily life in simple, practical, and powerful ways. First is mentalism. Everything starts in the mind. So, what are you thinking right now? What kind of thoughts do you feed yourself every day? Because your outer world is a reflection of what's inside you. If you're critical or positive, a victim or a creator, imagining the worst or hoping for the best, all that shapes your reality. Visualization, affirmations, and being aware of your thoughts aren't just self-help tricks. They're spiritual tools. Everything begins in the unseen mind before it shows up in the world. Second is correspondence. As above, so below. It might sound poetic, but it's very practical. Want to understand your life? Look at nature. Day turns to night. The tide comes in and goes out. Winter leads to spring. Your soul goes through cycles too. Your daily life follows bigger rhythms. You can use this law to balance inner chaos with outer harmony. Notice patterns. What keeps repeating when things go wrong? What's present when things flow? The universe is always giving you clues. You just have to learn to read them. Third is the law of vibration. Everything vibrates and sends out a frequency. So what are you vibrating right now? Guilt, fear, lack, or presence, gratitude, trust? This law doesn't care what you say you want. It responds to how you really feel. Raising your vibration is simple. Breathe deeply, walk barefoot on the earth, feel real gratitude for the moment, be quiet for a bit, listen to uplifting music, smile at someone. That already changes your frequency. And when your frequency shifts, your reality follows. Fourth is polarity. Everything has two sides. Hot and cold are just degrees on the same scale. So are fear and love, chaos and order, doubt and faith. If you're stuck at one extreme, you don't have to change who you are. Just shift the degree. You can turn anger into courage, sadness into creative reflection, fear into love, kind of like turning a volume knob. Spiritual growth isn't about getting rid of feelings, but learning to move your energy the right way. Fifth is rhythm. Nothing stays the same. Everything has cycles, days of light and days of shadow. Knowing this brings peace. When things feel low, remember the tide will rise again. When life is full, stay humble because change always comes. The secret isn't to fight the waves, but to learn to ride them. On tough days, pause, breathe, and trust. On good days, be grateful, share, and plant seeds. That's living with the universe's timing. Sixth is cause and effect. Nothing happens by accident. Every action has a reaction. Every thought creates energy. Every intention leads to results. Want to change what you get? Change what you put in. Think consciously. Speak with purpose. Act intentionally. Even what no one sees is building your future. Complaining about fate won't help if you're not planting seeds on purpose. The effect is just a mirror of the cause, and that mirror never lies. Seventh is gender. Everything has masculine and feminine energy. Not about biology, but about balance in your awareness. Masculine energy is focus, decision, action. Feminine energy is intuition, openness, sensitivity. If these get out of balance, life feels stuck. You act too much without listening, or listen too much without acting. True creation happens when these energies work together, balancing logic with feeling, doing with sensing, deciding with intuiting. That's how you unlock your power to co-create. Here's the secret. You don't have to get it all perfect. You just have to be in alignment. Even if it's not perfect, when you start living by these laws, reality begins to shift around you. The universe responds to honest intention, presence, and awareness. That's why these teachings are so powerful. They're not magic. They remind you of who you really are. Before you go, there's something special waiting for you. A video made to help you dive deeper into this awakening. A next step on your journey for more clarity, presence, and awareness. So don't close this tab, don't get distracted. Just click the video on your screen now, and I'll see you there. See you soon.